UGC, MMTTC of this reputed university, Sant Gadge Baba, Amravati University. I am also thankful for him to introduce me to the participants, distinguished participants. Today, all the faculty members in the colleges and universities have to necessarily implement outcome-based education. Outcome-based education is totally different from the traditional approach. In the traditional approach, only syllabus was there. But in outcome-based education, besides the syllabus, you have to formulate the course learning outcomes. You have to map course learning outcomes with program outcomes, program-specific outcomes. You have to write program educational objectives. So you have to totally reorient yourselves in curriculum design. At the same time, in the traditional method, you have learned from your teachers to use lecturing method only in higher education. But outcome-based education demands active learning strategies, activities carried out by the students inside the classroom and outside the classroom. That is very, very important. Outcome-based education also demands continuous and comprehensive assessment, not periodical assessment. Right? So with this, all of you must develop expertise in outcome-based curriculum design, active learning strategies, and assessment. So I shall discuss thoroughly the salient aspects of outcome-based curriculum development in this lecture. Please note down all your questions, all your queries, all your concerns. You can ask me. I shall give you opportunities for question answer session periodically during my lecture session. Then you can unmute yourselves, ask questions. With this brief introduction, I shall proceed with the presentation of my lecture in the form of a PPT. So you have to bear with me because my computer does not work in the full-time mode under the Zoom application. It works under the Google Meet and WebEx, but not under the Zoom. Therefore, I have increased the font size so that it is visible even in this mode. Right. First of all, let us start with the definition of outcome-based education. It is defined very well by Spady in 1994. Outcome-based education means we clearly focus and organize everything in an educational system around what is essential for all the students to be able to do successfully at the end of their learning experiences. In this definition, there are two important points. One point is at the end of their learning experiences. If we deliver the lecture and leave the hall, then the students will not undergo learning experiences. Listening is important. Noting down notes is important, but only when they do activities like problem solving, group discussion, case study analysis, experiential learning, then question answer sessions. Only when they work out, only when they participate in activities that provides them the learning experience. That is very, very important, sir, in outcome-based education. The teachers have to provide learning experiences to the students. Second point is, at the end of learning experiences, all the students will be able to do means they will be able to demonstrate their knowledge and skills at various levels of learning. This definition has to be understood very clearly by every one of us. Right? This is outcome-based education. That means we always start with a clear picture of what is essential for the students, not what we know, but what is essential for the students. We must have a clear picture of that. And then we organize our curriculum, instruction, and assessment strategies in order to make sure that learning ultimately happens. Students achieve the learning outcomes, right? So please have this kind of understanding with reference to outcome-based education. Therefore, outcome-based education aims at developing a clear set of essential learning outcomes, at the end of which all the education system's components can be focused, can be correctly focused. We must also establish conditions and opportunities within the education system that enable and encourage all students, note this point, at least 80% of the students, when I mean all the students, to achieve those essential learning outcomes. Essential learning outcomes. Immediately a question arises. What exactly are the learning outcomes? Outcomes are clear learning results that the teachers want the students to demonstrate at the end of significant learning experiences. Those are our learning outcomes. Outcomes are what learners can actually do with what they know and have learned. They are the tangible applications of what has been learned. That means outcomes are actions and performances that embody and reflect the learner's competence in using the content, information, ideas, and tools successfully. Now, this is very, very important, sir. Now we have defined outcome-based education. We also have defined what are the learning outcomes. But when you want to do the curriculum design in outcome-based approach, revised Bloom's taxonomy of learning levels is widely accepted all over the world as the basis to formulate learning outcomes of any given course. Therefore, we must understand the revised Bloom's taxonomy of learning levels. Revised Bloom's taxonomy of levels of mastery of learning. Taxonomy means classification. Level 1, the lowest level, that is remember level. Bloom defined this level as the lowest level of learning ability to remember without any understanding, rote learning. Then next higher level is understand level. That means the students will be able to explain the subject, the topic in one's own words and give his or her own examples. That is understand level, higher than remember level. The next higher level is apply level. At this level, the students will be able to apply the learned concepts to an unknown context, to a new context. That is apply level. Then analyze level, next higher level than apply level, the students will be able to break the information into constituent parts and determine how the parts relate to one another and to the overall structure. The next higher level is evaluate level. The students will be able to evaluate different designs, models, procedures, software, ideas, and designs, circuits, and make judgment which one is superior to others, algorithms also. Evaluate a given product as per the existing standards and benchmarks. Then finally, the highest level is create level. The students will be able to synthesize new materials, new products, generate new ideas, new models, new software, new designs of a product, etc. Right? So how many levels are there, sir? Learning levels in the cognitive domain, in the thinking domain, in the mental process, 6 levels. There is a ranking order among these levels, starting with the lowest level, remember, then understand, then apply, then analyze, then evaluate, then create. Remember is the lowest level and create is the highest level. There is a ranking order among these levels. There is a hierarchy among these levels of learning. That means if the students have achieved create level, it is understood that the student has achieved all the lower levels of learning, like evaluate, analyze, apply, understand, and remember. If the student has achieved an up to analyze level, it is understood that he has achieved the lower levels of learning like apply, understand, and remember. That is the understanding. Bloom's classification of the levels of mastery of learning helps the teachers to plan different levels of mastery of the subject to be achieved by the students according to the teacher's expectations, right? So that is what we call learning outcomes for any given course. Accordingly, the teacher will select the instructional materials, pedagogy, and assessment methods. This classification also helps the students to know as to what levels of mastery of the course the students must learn. Accordingly, the students will put in necessary time, effort, use suitable materials and strategies for learning. So this revised Bloom's taxonomy of learning levels is useful for both the teachers and also students. As these levels of mastery of the subject are related to thinking process, mental process, these are called cognitive levels. Let us recapitulate again. What are the 6 levels? Remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. Among these 6 levels, remember, understand, and apply These three levels are most basic in nature. Therefore, they are called lower order thinking skills lots. Whereas analyze, evaluate, and create, these are more complex in nature. Therefore, they are called higher order thinking skills hearts. In a good curriculum design, especially in an engineering college, wherein most of the courses are based on sciences and engineering and management, see, higher order thinking skills are very, very important, sir. You should focus. Apply is fine. Starting from apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. These levels of learning you must focus when you formulate the course learning outcomes. That is a very, very important point relevant to engineering education. Now, I am explaining the action verbs against each cognitive level. What is the role of action verbs, sir? We use action verbs in writing the learning outcomes, course learning outcomes. We use always the action verbs. So which action verbs have to be used? Bloom has given a comprehensive list of action verbs to be used against each cognitive level in writing the learning outcomes of any course. Right? Here, I am giving a few examples. Complete list is available to you in the internet. You can download from the internet complete list. Here, remember cognitive level. At this cognitive level, remember level, what are the examples of action verbs, sir? Define, state, name, identify, recognize, etc. These are the action verbs, examples of action verbs. Then let us see at understand level, the action examples of action verbs are explain, classify, describe, discuss, give examples, etc. Then at apply level, apply, interpret, solve, show, predict, employ, etc. Then at analyze level, you have analyze, calculate, compare, differentiate, etc. At evaluate level, you have evaluate, judge, conclude, assess, etc. Then at create level, you have examples, create, design, develop, devise, synthesize, etc. Right? These are only examples. So these action verbs we have to use carefully, select the action verbs carefully when we write the learning outcomes at each cognitive level, at each learning level. Now, that is one part. Next point is, what are the guidelines to write the learning outcomes in the cognitive domain at cognitive levels? What are the guidelines? In the internet, you don't find any guidelines. Based on my experience and expertise in organizing so many offline workshops, interaction with the faculty members, collectively, we have finalized these guidelines. These guidelines are useful to all the faculty members. In fact, these guidelines are used by now in many colleges and universities in writing the learning outcomes of any course learning outcomes. I am explaining these guidelines. Kindly pay total attention to them. Guideline 1, write the learning outcomes in terms of what the learner does after undergoing a particular course or unit of the course. This is called performance part. What is it called? Performance part. Performance part is necessary in all the course learning outcomes. You don't have any choice. You have to use the performance part. The second guideline is we always write a common statement before, common for all the course outcomes. What is that common statement? After completing this course successfully, the student should be able to, or the students will be able to, anything you can write. The student should be able to, or the students will be able to, after completing this course successfully. Right? You write this common statement first, then you write the course outcomes. Okay, sir. This is the second guideline. The third guideline is the learning outcome consists of three components, three parts in general, namely performance part, condition part, and criterion part. Performance part includes an action verb and subject content. That's all, nothing else. That is enough. In most of the cases, performance part is enough. But in some cases, you have to use the condition part. What do we mean by condition part? The conditions under which the learner will perform. For example, the resource, the database, the software, the algorithm, right? Unless you use that, you cannot write the course learning outcome. It is meaningless. So in such cases, we have to use the condition part and also context. In what context the students will achieve a particular learning outcome. So that also comes under condition part. Condition part means the conditions under which the learner will perform using a resource or in a context. Then you have criterion part. It means how well the learner will perform in terms of quality. It is a quality parameter. For example, the students will execute an algorithm without any error. The students will calculate a particular value without any error. The students will write a coherent paragraph without any error. Once you mention without any error, that is criterion part. So sometimes it is necessary. The students will be able to perform a particular experiment to an accuracy of 99%. Students will be able to perform an experiment. Is it meaningful? It may be erroneous, but the teacher wants the students to perform the experiment to an accuracy of 99%. The teacher wants the students to design a circuit without any error. The teacher wants to design the students to design a circuit. The circuit he will design, but it may be full of errors. It's meaningless. So the teacher wants to be specific. Specific, that is criterion part. So once again, performance part is necessary in all the course learning outcomes, condition part and criterion part wherever necessary. The fourth guideline is the learning outcome must be achievable by the students. When I say by the students, by 80% of the students. That is the understanding, 80% of the students. Therefore, my suggestion is, during the first year undergraduate level, please do not go beyond analyze level. Don't write the learning outcomes at create level and evaluate level during the first year, because 80% of the students will not be able to achieve. Only 10% or 20% maximum may be able to achieve. So when you go to higher classes, third year and fourth year, especially in electives, level 2 courses, level 3 courses, there you can write learning outcomes at evaluate and create level. In minor projects, mini projects, and major projects also, you can write course outcomes at evaluate levels and create levels. Even for projects also, you have to write learning outcomes. Please note this point. For any course, lab courses, you have to write the learning outcomes. When you write learning outcomes for lab courses, you have to include the psychomotor domain also, the physical activity. That means the students will be able to operate the instrument with confidence. The students will be able to collect the data, completely. The students will be able to analyze and interpret the data. Like that, you have to write in the laboratory courses. Sometimes you may combine the course laboratory component and theory component. That is the best practice wherever possible. Therefore, there may be 4 or 5 course outcomes at the cognitive domain and 1 or 2 course outcomes in the psychomotor domain. That possibility is also there. So when you integrate the theory component and lab component and give more number of credits, that is the best practice followed in some of the best universities in the world. Fifth guideline is the learning outcome must be measurable. What do we mean by this? The learning outcome must be measurable. Choose suitable action where. What do we mean by this? That means when you use the action where, with that action where, you should be able to ask a question. For example, can you ask a question with remember? Remember so and so theorem? No. Therefore, you should not use remember as the action verb. It is cognitive level, no doubt. But as an action verb, when you write the learning outcomes, you should not use remember action verb as action verb. You should not use understand as action verb. Can you give a question? Understand so and so procedure? No. You will give a question, explain so and so procedure. Discuss so and so procedure. Therefore, I have listed some of the action verbs here. I am naming them one by one. Please do not use these action verbs. This is a common error. Most of the faculty members use these action verbs in writing the learning outcomes. You should not use. What are the action verbs which you should not use? Remember, understand, know, acquire, appreciate, think, believe, realize, gain, etc., which are not measurable. This is the common error. You please do not commit this common error. Then sixth guideline is fix the learning level first, the cognitive level first, then accordingly from the Bloom's list, you choose the action verb. That is important. But don't, so based on the action verb, don't decide the cognitive level. Fix the cognitive level first, as the teacher thinks. It depends upon the teacher who designs the course. Then choose the suitable action verb. That is the sixth guideline. Seventh guideline, always start writing each learning outcome with an action verb of the performance part. Always. That is the procedure. Then eighth guideline. Use only one action verb in general for writing a learning outcome. Another common error is I have seen from several websites of colleges and universities. Another common error is the students will be able to define, explain, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create so on so thing. That is wrong. Once you write create level, it is understood that all other levels are achieved. It is understood. You should not mention only one cognitive level, action verb corresponding to only one cognitive level you have to mention. Sometimes similar action verbs are there which represent the same cognitive level like analyze and interpret. The students will be able to analyze and interpret the data. Both correspond to the same cognitive level, that is analyze. That is accepted. Okay, sir. So then the ninth guideline is the learning outcome must be easily understood by the students. It is not only for the teachers, sir. It is also for the students. During the first day of instruction itself, you have to give them the course learning outcomes in the form of handouts. Course design, you have to give them on the first day of instruction itself. The student should understand what are the course outcomes for a given course. Therefore, don't write complex sentences in the medium of instruction. Some colleges still use Hindi as the medium of instruction. Don't you write always simple sentences. Simple sentences. Please put yourselves in the place of the students and then use the language. Then use the language. Please consider the rural students also. Please consider the students from disadvantaged families, right? So therefore, please use carefully the language so that everybody will be able to understand what you mean, right? That is ninth guideline. 10th guideline, for each learning outcome, the cognitive level, that is learning level, may be mentioned within the brackets so that the students know at what learning level they should achieve a particular course outcome. Suppose if it is analyze level, they have to do lots of problems at the analyze level. If it is at create level, they have to do much more effort to achieve at create level, higher cognitive level. Higher cognitive level means it is greater difficulty to achieve the higher cognitive level, right? Remember level, it is very easy to achieve, right? Remember level also is important, but it is very easy to achieve. Then 11th guideline, when you consider the course outcomes, they may be mostly at understand level and higher levels, right? But remember level also is important, no doubt. But the students achieve understand level, it is understood that they have achieved remember level also. But the other way is not true. If the students have achieved remember level, the students have not achieved at any higher levels. Therefore, course outcomes must be at understand level and higher level. Okay. Then 12th guideline, the number of course outcomes may be 5 or 6 for a 3 or 4 credit course. For a 2 credit course, even the number can be 3 or 4. That is good enough. But most of the courses are 3 or 4 credit courses. So the number of course outcomes is 5 to 6. National Board of Accreditation mentioned very clearly that the number of course outcomes may be 6, but I have given you here the range 5 to 6, which is acceptable. Once again, I reiterate the point, performance part is essential and condition part and criterion part wherever necessary. Any subject content discussed in the class and is remembered and recalled by the student, the cognitive level is remember only. The cognitive levels apply, analyze, evaluate, create always refer to unknown contexts, familiar but not discussed in the class, and real-time problems. In the students' projects, mini projects or major projects, there is a large scope for the learning outcomes at higher cognitive levels, such as create and evaluate. Therefore, the cognitive level of each learning outcome has to be carefully understood by the teacher while formulating the learning outcomes of any given course, and it must be mentioned against the learning outcome. The students will then be able to understand clearly as to what cognitive level they have to reach in that particular learning outcome. Now I have explained the guidelines, right? I have explained the revised Bloom's taxonomy of different levels of learning. Now I am giving you a few examples of course learning outcomes, because with examples, the subject may be more clear to you. The course name, Design and Analysis of Algorithms. This is the format in which you write the course outcomes. Course name, Design and Analysis of Algorithms. Course outcomes, I shall explain. So then you write subheading, course outcome. First course name, then another subheading, course outcomes, COs, within bracket. After complete, this is the common step. Then what do you write? After the subheading common stem, you write the common stem. After the subheading course outcomes, you write the common stem. What is the common stem written here? After completion of the course, the student should be able to. This common stem must be written. This is again common error. Many faculty members do not write the common stem. Common stem must be written, otherwise there is no meaning. After completion of this course, students should be able to, that common stem must be written. Then this is CO1. Look at this, sir, CO1. So demonstrate here. Demonstrate is the action verb. A familiarity with major algorithms and data structures, that is the subject content. Action verb demonstrate. A familiarity with major algorithms and data structures, that is the subject content. Action verb and subject content, that is called performance part. So CO1 includes only performance part. No condition part, no criterion part, because they are not necessary here. And the cognitive level is understand. Then second, CO2. If you see CO2, apply is the action verb. Important algorithmic design paradigms and methods of analysis, that is subject content. Here also it is only action verb and subject content, performance part, cognitive level, apply level. Then third CO, analyze, action verb, the asymptotic performance of algorithms, that is the subject content. Here also only performance part, cognitive level, analyze level. Then CO4, write action verb, rigorous correctness proofs for algorithms, that is the subject content. So again performance part only, cognitive level, apply level. Then you see CO5, synthesize efficient algorithms, that is the performance part, synthesize action verb, efficient algorithms subject content. So together performance part. Here you see without any error, without any error, that is necessary. Teacher wants the students to develop algorithms without any error. So criterion part is necessary here. Therefore, teacher has used the criterion part. Then let us proceed further. In common engineering design situations, this is the context. Therefore, that is the condition part. CO5 therefore includes performance part, condition part, and also criterion part. All the three parts are included in CO5, right? Suppose you remove the words in common engineering design situations. You remove that. Then does it have any meaning, sir? There is no meaning. What for you synthesize algorithms? Therefore, condition part is necessary. So they synthesize algorithms. The teacher wants to be specific without any error. Therefore, the teacher mentioned without any error also. So CO5 includes performance part, condition part, and also criterion part. All the three parts are there in CO5, whereas in other four COs, only performance part is there in all other four COs. I'll give you another example for sciences, analytical chemistry at MSc level. So after completion of this course, students will be able to, that is the common STEM. Apply the principles of data analysis to the results obtained, etc. Apply level. Apply basic concepts of volumetric and gravimetric analysis, etc. Apply level. Select suitable spectroscopic technique and interpret the results obtained, etc. Analyze level. Interpret the results of thermal methods of analysis of any given material. Analyze level. Interpret the results of different electroanalytical methods for analysis of any given material. Analyze level. Evaluate the suitability and appropriateness of different methods of analysis of and for a given application in industry. Evaluate level. See here. 2 apply level, 3 analyze level, and 1 evaluate level. Very standard course. Then digital electronics. Again in engineering course. Course outcome subheading. After completion of this course, students should be able to, what is that? Common STEM. Then CO1, explain concepts and terminology of digital electronics, understand level. Apply logic to design and creation using gates to find out solutions to the problem, apply level. Use De Morgan's theorem to simplify a negated expression, apply level. Formulate and employ a Carnot map to reduce Boolean expressions and logic circuits to their simplest forms, apply level. Create circuits to solve problems using gates to replicate all the necessary functions, apply level. Design and evaluate a solution to a digital design problem, evaluate level. Design and implement combinational logic circuits using reprogrammable logic devices, apply level, right? So there are so many here at apply level, almost only 1 understand level and all others 6 at apply level. Then these are the, because your college is engineering and technology, I am not going for the microbiology. Then mathematics, you will have mathematics also. How do you write course outcomes in mathematics? Number theory, After completion of this course, students will be able to analyze hypotheses and conclusions of mathematical statements, analyze level, apply different methods of proof to verify mathematical assertions, including proofs by induction, by contrapositive, and by contradiction, apply level, solve systems of Diophantine equations using Chinese remainder theorem and the Euclidean algorithm, apply level, explain the basics of modular arithmetic, understand level, state and prove Fermat's little theorem and its generalization using Euler's function, understand level, use Fermat's little theorem to implement the RSA cipher and discrete log cipher, apply level. So in mathematics, there is a large scope to write the course outcomes at apply and analyze levels and evaluate levels. Now, I have given you the examples also. Now, the time for the question answer session. If you have any questions on the subject discussed so far, based on your experience, based on your understanding, earlier understanding, right? Please ask me your questions, queries. Now, it is open for discussion. So the discussion is on how to write course outcomes. What are all the various aspects? Anything you can ask. Yes, sir. Any questions, please? I welcome questions because through questions only you will understand the subject with a deeper understanding. Understanding is very important, not only listening. You participate in the discussion, you ask questions. You can ask me in Hindi, I will explain in simple English. So if there are no questions, any questions, please? Sripad Kulkarni ji. Okay, I shall proceed further. Origin of outcome-based education, OBE in India. It is based on Washington Accord. What is Washington Accord? This is an accord signed initially among 6 countries such as Australia, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, United Kingdom, and United States in the year 1989. 1989. Its purpose is to mutually recognize and accept the qualifications and degrees accredited by the signatories of the accord for the purpose of higher studies and also employment. India has become a signatory of Washington Accord on June 13, 2014. 25 years after the initiation of Washington Accord, India signed the accord. Since then, National Board of Accreditation was established. Since then, outcome-based education is implemented in engineering programs. As of January 2024, 24 countries signed the Washington Accord. 24 countries. That means our Indian degrees, engineering degrees, are accepted or recognized by 23 other countries for the purpose of higher studies and employment. India also recognizes the degrees from those 23 other countries for the purpose of higher studies and employment in India. That is the idea. And all the member countries accept the defined graduate attributes for engineering programs. Please refer to the revised NBA guidelines for the graduate attributes. Graduate attributes formulated by NBA, National Board of Accreditation. Graduate attributes are a set of generic knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Please note this point. Graduate attributes are a set of generic knowledge, skills, and attitudes considered essential for all graduate engineers of 21st century. These graduate attributes are identified by National Board of Accreditation. All the graduate engineers are expected to demonstrate these graduate attributes after completion of their degrees. Institutions which can ensure these graduate attributes in their fresh graduates may be accredited by National Board of Accreditation. Others will not be accredited by National Board of Accreditation. These graduate attributes are relevant for engineering programs only, right? So, all of you belong to, it's an engineering, College of Engineering and Technology. Therefore, I am skipping this given by UGC, right? So, graduate attributes, some idea you should have on graduate attributes: disciplinary knowledge, communication skills, critical thinking and problem solving, analytical reasoning, research-related skills, collaboration and teamwork, information and digital literacy, multicultural competence, moral and ethical awareness or reasoning, community engagement, engineer and society, that is also there, leadership readiness qualities, self-learning and lifelong learning. If you look at the graduate attributes, only disciplinary knowledge is related to your curriculum. All other things, communication skills, critical thinking and problem solving, analytical reasoning, research-related skills, collaboration, cooperation, teamwork, information and digital literacy, multicultural moral and ethical awareness, reasoning, community engagement, leadership readiness qualities, self-learning and lifelong learning. All these are related to the active learning strategies which you implement, sir. The continuous and comprehensive assessment strategies which you implement, sir. The overall learning experiences the students will achieve, will undergo during their period of graduation, sir. If you understand graduate attributes correctly, there are no graduate attributes in the traditional system of education. They are there in OBE. That is the main difference. It is not learning some courses. They have to achieve communication skills, collaboration and teamwork, critical thinking and problem solving, analytical reasoning, research-related skills, moral awareness, ethics, collaboration and teamwork, information and digital literacy, community engagement, self-learning and lifelong learning. How can they achieve? Only with the curriculum. Therefore, you have to organize several learning experiences, even outside the curriculum also. When you organize seminars, let the students take leadership. You be the guide. National conferences or international conferences, you guide them. Let them be in the forefront. You organize tech fest, cultural fest, let them organize. You guide them. You coordinate that. Let them be in the forefront. Let them introduce the speaker. Right? Let them do everything. You guide them how to do. Another important point, sir, for every course in engineering, College of Engineering and Technology, there is a good possibility for a large number of courses to give a mini project. Every course has a mini project to a weightage of about 20%. That is the best practice done in IIIT Hyderabad. I witnessed it. When they do mini project for every course, all these graduate attributes are achieved. Project-based learning, when you give them group project, especially collaboration and teamwork, if it is related to community engagement, then engineer and society, then if they use ICT tools, information and digital literacy, self-learning, critical thinking, problem, all these graduate attributes are achieved if they carry out many projects. This is a very important takeaway from my lecture. Please try to do that, sir. Assessment means it's not 2 or 3 tests and end semester examination. That is periodical assessment. That is not continuous assessment. Project-based learning is the most important way of learning in engineering colleges and institutions. Very important, sir. Some of the best institutions in the world are doing this mini project, besides the major project in the final year, in the UG 4th year. Anyway, in PG programs, you have the entire final year only project. Besides that, in the first year also, you have theory courses. You give mini project. Let there be different modes of assessment, not only tests, assignments, term paper, like that, mini projects. Then, so here you have vision and mission. In your terminology, you always call it not qualification descriptors, you call it program educational objectives. This is UGC framework. It is displayed here, right? So for engineering programs, after vision and mission are related to the department. Then you have program educational objectives. Then you have program outcomes. Then you have course outcomes. Here on the right side, on my right, it is hidden, that is graduate attributes. For all the engineering programs, UG engineering programs, the program outcomes are decided by NBA. For UG, 11 program outcomes are decided by NBA. You have to use them only. For PG, 10 program outcomes are decided. For management, 5 program MBA, for 5 program outcomes are decided. You need not write. Graduate attributes are given by NBA only. What you have to write is vision and mission, program educational objectives. Qualification descriptors is the terminology used in UGC. But in engineering colleges, you use the term program educational objectives. Instead of program learning outcomes, you use program outcomes. And also program specific outcomes you have to prepare for each program. Program outcomes are given by NBA, but program specific outcomes you have to prepare. Course outcomes you have to prepare for each course. Now, how do you prepare? Vision is a futuristic statement that the department would like to achieve over a long period of time. Mission statements of the departments are the means to achieve the vision. Mission statement 1, related to human resource development through teaching programs offered by the department. That is how you write MS1. Mission statement 2, related to research. Mission statement 3, related to extension programs, outreach programs, sponsored research projects, training programs, etc. as applicable. It depends upon each college. Mission statement 4, collaboration with other international and national organizations through MOUs. And then you have to bring the MOUs into action. The 4 mission statements you have to write in this way. This is the guidance to write how to write the vision and mission statements. Then program educational objectives. The program educational objectives describe the academic standard for a specific qualification, bachelor's degree or master's degree, in terms of the levels of disciplinary knowledge, skills, competencies, and values that the holders of the qualification are expected to demonstrate by the time they graduate. Right? So you have to visualize that. It is the program educational objectives are not given by NBA. You have to draft. Program outcomes are given, graduate attributes are given. Program specific outcomes also you have to write. Then you should have mapping table. So it is written QD instead of QD, you mention PEO and mission statements. In all the mapping tables, 3 indicates high mapping, that is the procedure. 2 indicates in the box, 2 indicates medium mapping. In the box, 1 indicates low mapping. Dash indicates no mapping at all. Instead of QD, you mention PEO, program educational objectives. Then program outcomes. You call the in engineering terminology for NBA program outcomes. Program outcomes include subject-specific knowledge and skills and competencies which the students of a specific academic program should be able to demonstrate for the award of the degree. The program outcomes would also focus on knowledge and skills that prepare students for further study, employment, and citizenship. They also provide comparability of learning levels and academic standards across the colleges and universities in the country. POs may be drafted in accordance with graduate attributes, but POs are given by NBA to engineering programs. Then you also have program-specific outcomes which you have to prepare for a given academic program. If it is BTech Computer Science, separate. BTech Electronics, separate. BTech Mechanical Engineering, separate. Civil Engineering, separate. But program outcomes are common for all engineering programs. Right. So program-specific outcomes, what do we mean by that? If the curriculum of an academic program has a few specialized courses, then it may include 2 to 3 program-specific outcomes related to the subject content, knowledge and skills of those specialized courses. For example, in BTech Computer Science, you have artificial intelligence, one course on machine learning, one course on Internet of Things. Then you write 3 program-specific outcomes. Similarly, in BTech ECE, you have robotics, one course. You have Internet of Things, hardware part, one course. You have VLSI design, another course. Then you can write 3 program specific outcomes. That is the meaning of program specific outcomes. Then again, mapping table between program outcomes and program specific outcomes, and then PEOs. Instead of QD, you remember PEO. Program outcomes and program specific outcomes in column and PEOs in the row. You should have mapping table 2. Then course learning outcomes I have already discussed. Design of each course in the curriculum design, in the curriculum that is called course design. This is a very important point. Take away from my lecture. A good course design consists of the following components. Number 1, prerequisite knowledge. Prerequisite knowledge for any given course. For level 2 course, level 1 course is the prerequisite course. But what is the prerequisite knowledge for level 1 course? That is plus 2. Plus 2 knowledge is the prerequisite knowledge. Then course learning outcome, second component, 5 to 6 for a 3 to 4 credit course. Then mapping of CLOs with one or more COs with one or more POs and PSOs in the form of a table. Detailed syllabus including references. Teaching and learning strategies in brief, only the names, experiential learning method, problem solving method, project-based learning, group discussion method, like that, only the names. Then assessment methods and weightages in brief. Tests, assignments, mini project, what are the weightages? End semester examination, what is the weightage? Now, I'm going to explain the template applicable for any academic program. Any academic program, the same template can be used. Name of the department, vision statement, a single statement, mission statements, 3 to 4 numbers, name of the academic program, program educational objectives, 4 to 5 program educational objectives, then mapping table between program educational objectives and mission statements, first mapping table, write 3 in the box for high level mapping, 2 for medium level mapping, 1 for low level mapping, and a dash for no mapping. Then program outcomes, these are given by NBA, but you must mention here. NBA has given, but you must mention in your program template. Then program specific outcomes, which you have written 2 to 3. Then mapping table between POs and PSOs and PEOs. Right? This is another mapping table. Then course design, course code, title of the course, LTP. L stands for lecture hours. T stands for tutorial hours. P stands for practical hours, fieldwork community. Then the number of credits. Then prerequisite knowledge. This is the way you should formulate the course design. Course learning outcomes, 5 to 6 are course outcomes. Then this is another mapping table between COs, POs and PSOs. Instead of CLO, you understand it is CO for engineering, CLO for arts and science and other things. Right? CO, PO and PSO. This is another very important mapping table. Here also, the common error is you will see COs, well-drafted COs, 5 or 6. Then you fill only 5 or 6 boxes with 3 or 2 or 1. All the other boxes are left empty. The accreditation committee will object for it. When you fill this table, you have to consider the COs and also the active learning strategies which you implemented. You must implement active learning strategies. Lecturing method is no longer valid in OBE. You have to implement active learning strategies, give them problems, case studies, mini projects, all that. Also, assessment strategies. You have to consider COs, your teaching active learning strategies, and your assessment strategies. Then you fill the table. For communication skills, if you give mini projects for communication skills, you can fill 3 POs for the course. For mini projects, self-learning, you can fill 3, collaborate if it is group project. Like that, if you consider COs, active learning strategies, and assessment strategies, you can fill many boxes with either 3 or 2 or 1. Don't leave the box empty. When something is not mapped, put a dash there. That is most important point. Then detailed syllabus. Here, there is no point in having uniformity. All the courses will have the same number of units. That is wrong. The institutions can give a range of units, 5 to 6, something like that. Right? It depends upon the nature of the course. And when you draft course outcomes, you have to consider the entire syllabus of the course, not unit-wise. However, when each unit is separate in itself, second unit is different from first unit, third unit is different, fourth unit is different, then you can write unit-wise learning outcomes. But many of the engineering courses, there is a continuation of knowledge. Second unit is based on first unit, unit is based on first 2 units, fourth unit is based on first 3 units, like that. Then you have to consider the entire course and then write the course learning outcomes. That is very, very important. Then teaching learning strategies in brief, 4 to 5 sentences. Assessment methods and weightages in brief, 4 to 5 sentences. Then drafting the syllabus, salient points. It must be the student-centered syllabus. It should be of great relevance to the needs of the students by the time they graduate. This is a common mistake. Generally, teachers are tempted to put the courses, whatever they know. In each course, the syllabus also, whatever they know, that is wrong. Whatever is needed by the students, we have to prepare. You have to do the curriculum design and pass it in academic senate 6 months before. If you implement from 2006, 26-27 batch, you have to finish the syllabus before December 2025 and allot the courses. 6 months time is given to each faculty to prepare for the new courses. You have to always proceed with the advance. Whenever curriculum revision is there, you have to consider the latest trends, current trends by the time they graduate. What courses will be useful to them? Electives, every year you have to change the electives, number of electives, kind of electives. Even if 5 students offer one of the electives, you have to offer that if they select. It should be choice-based curriculum by the students. The course outcomes and the syllabus must be discussed in the faculty meeting with external experts and from academia, industry, employing organizations, and also alumni, then in the board of studies, and finally in the academic council. The current and future trends in the discipline must be taken into consideration. The syllabus must not be heavy in the outcome-based education, as active learning strategies are to be implemented in the classroom teaching, and the syllabus must be reduced in comparison to the traditional lecture method. So which should be reduced? Whatever the students can learn by self-learning, by assignments, remove that. principles, concepts, applications, real-time problems. Only such things have to be included in the syllabus. For every course, the course design has to be prepared by the concerned faculty member who teaches that course. You can take the advice of the senior faculty who have taught that course earlier. For the purpose of calculation of credits, one lecture per hour per week, one lecture hour per week, 1 credit. One tutorial hour per week, 1 credit. 2 hours of field work, lab work, or field work, or workshop practice, or community engagement per week considered equivalent to 1 credit. All the course designs have to be incorporated into the curriculum semester-wise starting from the first semester. Right? There is a procedure, there is an order, there are guidelines to prepare, to design the curriculum. So I want to provide the question answer session again. If a teacher designs a standard outcome-based curriculum and implements the same by using appropriate pedagogy and assessment strategies, the teacher mentors generations of students to become innovators, entrepreneurs, experts in one's own profession. And above all, great teachers. Such teachers will be remembered by their students forever. Such teachers will attain meaning and fulfillment of their lives. I pay rich tributes to such great teachers, and I wish that all of you become such great teachers in the years to come. Thank you very much. So these are the recommended videos. Channel name, Professor B.V. Apparao. There are about 80 videos in my channel, and nearly 60 videos are related to curriculum design, pedagogy, and assessment. Whatever doubts you have, you can go through this my channel, and then channel link is given here, and this PPT also I shall be sharing with Professor Muhammad Atiki for sharing with all of you. Thank you very much. Now again, question answer session. Any question you may ask me now, not only regarding curriculum, anything, whatever related to education, anything you may ask me. The floor is much more open for discussion now. Questions, please. Deliberately, I provide slots for question answer session. This is important in your classroom teaching also. The activities for students, 45 minutes maximum for the teacher and 15 minutes minimum for the students' activities in every classroom. Please ask me questions. Otherwise, I go on talking like this till 4 o'clock. Questions, please. It is very important to have the faculty-student ratio 1:15 or better, FSR, 1:15 or better. For example, you have BTech in computer science and engineering, 60 students are there in first year, all years, 4 years, 240 students. Divided by 15, you should have 16 faculty members in order to implement outcome-based education in its true spirit. Adequate number of faculty must be there. Inadequate, less number of faculty is a serious problem in all colleges and universities to implement outcome-based education. Any questions, please? You have to draft, especially the course learning outcomes, very carefully. There should be alignment with the syllabus and course learning outcomes. You please follow all the guidelines which I have explained in my PPT. I shall share the guidelines, Bloom's taxonomy of action verbs list after my lecture is delivered to the to the coordinator, to the director UGC MMTTC, to be shared with all of you. So please follow the guidelines. You can formulate standard course learning outcomes. Please implement active learning strategies. If you are dealing with large classes, you should have tutorials. 3 contact hours and 1 tutorial hour. You have 90 students in the class, divide them into 30 each. For each 30, there should be 1 teacher to conduct the tutorial. At least in tutorial hour, you can organize active learning strategies. That is the solution for large classes. If it is a 60 students class, divide them into 2 batches and organize active learning strategies. But even in 60 students also, group-based problem solving you can use. Each bench may consist of 3 students. Let them form a group. You give a problem. So simultaneously, all the 20 groups will discuss among themselves and solve the problems. Teacher may facilitate. Teacher may coordinate. That is possible even with 60 members in the class. You can give group projects, mini projects. That is possible. Right? So whatever active learning strategies are possible, you can kindly implement them. And please, your college rules and regulations and procedures must be changed in order to implement continuous and comprehensive assessment. That is what NEP 2020 also mentions, continuous and comprehensive assessment, not periodical assessment. So 3 tests and 1 end semester examination means 3 tests means after for 4 weeks or so you will be conducting 1 test. So that is periodical. Continuous means you give every week assignments, group assignments, right? Then mini project. Mini project is continuous assessment. Even in the laboratory work assessment also, let there be continuous assessment. Every week there can be 1 assessment even in the laboratory also. Like that, continuous and comprehensive assessment must be implemented. Active learning strategies must be implemented. Curriculum design based on the current and future trends in that particular domain knowledge for the benefit of the students has to be implemented whenever you revise. Lot of work has to be done in the curriculum design. It is not a matter of few hours in the board of studies meeting. No. Minimum 3 days in the form of a workshop. You can spend minimum 3 days to design good curriculum. All the faculty, mostly if it is next year to be implemented during the winter vacation, you can complete the curriculum design, right? That is how you have to plan. Yes, it is already, time is over. If there are no questions, I wish you all the best in the teaching profession. Thank you very much. Organizers may kindly conclude the session because I should not encroach into the next speaker's time. Professor Muhammad Atiq. In the meantime, still you have any questions, you are welcome. Professor Mahmoud Atiq Saab or any other organizer on his behalf? Any questions in the meantime? Till the organizers conclude the session, questions are welcome. Any questions? Hello, sir. Hello, the lecture is over. There are no questions being
Hello.
asked. Yeah. Okay. Right.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay.
The session was very informative. Thank you. Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
नाही ते अडचण नाही यायला पाहिजे. मग एकदा डोक्यातून गेला विषय की गेला असं होऊन जातं ना. मग हा म्हणून म्हटलं. हो हो चालेल चालेल.
Hello. Sharif, sir, have you joined?
Yes, sir. I've joined.
Yeah, welcome, sir.
So you can see me, right?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yeah, clearly.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So, shall we start?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Dear participants, dear friends, it is indeed a privilege for we all to welcome an eminent personality among us today. Before we begin, I take this opportunity to introduce our distinguished speaker. Dr. Sharif V is a higher education policy specialist, currently serving as a research officer on special duty at Kerala State Higher Education Reforms Implementation Cell, Government of Kerala. He plays a key leadership role in designing and implementing major higher education reforms in the state, including the 4 undergraduate programs, postgraduate curriculum, restructuring, and university governance reforms, with a PhD with political science from University of Hyderabad. Dr. Sharif has extensive experience in policy research, curriculum design, academic, administration, and capacity building. He has previously served as a research officer at the Kerala State Higher Education Council and assistant professor of political science. His academic interests, including higher education, policy, governance, outcome-based education, and pedagogical innovations. Dr. Sharif has contributed significantly to the state level committees, delivered numerous training sessions for faculty and academic bodies, and published research in national and international reforms. He is having many credits on his record. He received award from UGC for Junior Research Fellowship in 2010, international internship sponsored by the government of Kerala at University of UK. He also received the travel grant for attending the conference at Oxford University in 2015. At the same time, the fellowship to attend the summer school at Istanbul University, Turkey. So now, may I request Sharif sir to continue with his session. Please,
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So, friends, I think the time is very odd. It's 4 o'clock. Most of you must be like, leaving to home and all. So we'll be having a interactive discussion at this point of time. I'm going to speak something on innovative curriculum. I hope, participants will be cooperating with me because, I wanted to make this as interactive as possible. I'm not going to speak anything, which is not, all of you must be very familiar with what I'm going to speak. So I'm going to speak on innovative pedagogy, or precisely what are the new teaching, learning, and evaluation tools under the curriculum restructuring pushed by the National Education Policy, UGC, and many other state governments, especially in the wake of four-year undergraduation program. Even if four-year undergraduation program is not being implemented in your state, we need to have a very thorough revision for our curriculum in the in undergraduation. I'm focusing more on undergraduation. See, today morning when I was reading the newspaper, I found an interesting article written on the higher education sector, and it is titled as "Diminishing Promise of University Degrees." Actually, that shows that the university degrees is losing its relevance. So, in the larger context, how can we make our teaching, learning, and assessment process more interesting? How can we could ensure that the learners will grab as much as possible through our classrooms or in teaching process, and so that they could earn something very crucial, something which will be very useful in their future. So these days, the people have started to speak of not on placements. Our colleges will be focusing on placements. But now it is a time for us to not focus on placement, but after the placement, how far the graduates able to sustain or survive in the professional field is more crucial. If you want to survive or sustain in the professional field, then you have to update yourself in the most innovative happenings that is happening in your particular discipline. If it is a computer graduate, if it is an economic graduate, if it is a chemistry graduate, whoever he or she is, even if they got job, if they wanted to sustain and survive in that profession, they need to practice continuous learning or lifelong learning. So the industry, the academicians, management experts, everyone are seriously pushing for a serious curriculum reforms. A serious curriculum reform that would change the very way in which we teach, learn, and assess and evaluate our students. Can we have an interactive session? Can someone who is attending this session, can I call your name? I can see Agash Magar. Agash, are you there? Or anyone, can you come some? See, I just wanted to ask you one simple question. What is the difference between curriculum and syllabus? Dr. Diwali Chatterjee, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Uh,
Yes, sir.
Dr. Diwali, can you uh, put share something on, like, what is the fundamental difference between syllabus and curriculum?
Basically, syllabus is that things where we are going to form the syllabus as per the particular time framework,
Yes.
and
Hmm.
syllabus can be vast, syllabus can be specific corner. When we talk about the curriculum, it has
Hmm.
wider aspect, and when we
Yes.
talk about the curriculum versatility, we can speak that versatility is much more in curriculum,
Yeah.
and curriculum also included holistic development part and scholastic development part
Very good,
both.
very good. It's put it in a, I mean, she has made a very detailed explanation on what is syllabus and curriculum. See, curriculum, I mean,
Hmm.
syllabus, I'm sure that all of you must be knowing that what is syllabus. But what is curriculum? Curriculum is nothing but how we can transact the syllabus. That is the
Yes. Yes.
curriculum. See, like, I mean, there is a fundamental issue. I can give you an example, which all of you must be familiar with. One thing is, like, just take the case of phonetics. In our language, all of us must have learned phonetics. Why do we teach or why do we learn phonetics? We teach or learn phonetics just because that, it is to improve the speaking skill, it is to improve the pronunciation, right? We all know that. But there is an outcome for this course. What is the outcome? The outcome is nothing but we are teaching phonetics in order to ensure that the learner will be able to apply the knowledge which he has grabbed so that he can speak in language fluently and he can also pronounce it correctly. But what happens? What is evaluation method? Evaluation method is written exam. So how can we ensure that? I mean, just before, we had a session on outcome-based education. So outcome is very clear. We teach phonetics in order to improve the speaking skills, in order to improve the pronunciation. And in order to ensure that whether the learner has acquired that particular skill, we conduct the written examination. So that is the major issue with our higher education system. Because the student doesn't know how to apply the knowledge which they have which they have acquired from the thing. The industry, the job market, actually they need people who are very well versed with the skills rather than the knowledge. Nobody is going to get a job in the coming days using a degree, especially like maybe in teaching, the degree is still still it still carries certain weight. But in the other professionals, the skill is acquiring the most importance. So I can share you a personal experience. Recently, I talked with a HR manager, human resource manager in Kochi, Kerala. So she told me that she was assigned to find 5 perfect suitable candidates for a fintech company, that is a financial technology company situated in Kochi. Then she invited 20. I mean, they called for the application. Then she, hello sir. Uh, they invited application, and after the application they shortlisted 25 people, and these people were invited for selection process. So they have invited BCom and BBA graduates for interview. So as commerce teacher may know that in commerce you teach them finance management, you teach them auditing, income tax, entrepreneurship. There are many other things which you teach them. But this company, they did a very interesting thing. They gave a question to the participants and asked them to write an answer for that. The question was very simple. The company, the investors, the present investors of that particular company will withdraw their investment in next 3 years. So how can the company survive and sustain after 3 years? It's very simple. It's an application of what they have learned. Unfortunately, very few of them have seriously attempted that particular question. And the saddest part is not that. After this, they conducted interview. And when they conducted interview, All the participants in that interview have answered more than 90% of the questions. All of them were very well versed about how the cash flow, from where they can find different types of loans, what are the innovative entrepreneur. Theory part, the people are very well versed in the theory part. But when the company gave a question that the same thing which they have learned, like, how the funds flow, how the cash flow, what are the financial management, they couldn't answer properly. So this called for a very serious approach. NEP is strongly emphasizing that our teaching, learning, evaluation, and assessment process have to be changed. The present teaching learning process is obsolete, outdated. When we have been practicing the same teaching learning method which we were which was prevalent when we were studying as students. Now, even after decades, the content may have changed, but the very way we operate the higher education system has not changed drastically. In majority of the arts and science colleges, for that matter. So that's why NEP is focusing that the curriculum, the pedagogy, that has to be changed. There shall be innovations in pedagogy. The purpose of teaching, learning process is that the learner must acquire knowledge, skill, and aptitude. That is outcome. I'm sure that all of you must be having good idea about OBE now. The outcome, that is knowledge, skill, and aptitude, that has to be transacted to the learners. So the teachers should use most innovative practices, the best possible practices in the classroom or outside the classroom. See, if you're teaching students in Mumbai city or Bangalore city or Delhi in a college like St. Stephen, you cannot use the same teaching methods if you're teaching in a rural college. Do you agree with me? Ganesh? Dr. Usha, are you there? Dr. Usha Kare?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Usha?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you there, right? So please tell me, what do you teach?
Hello, sir. You're asking me?
Yes, I'm asking Dr. Usha.
Oh, no. Yes, sir.
Usha is there? Vaishali? Dr. Shailesh? Okay, then, I have to came back to Dr. Diwali, please.
Yes, sir.
See, Diwali,
Yes, sir.
question is very simple.
What you are asking?
So where do you teach, ma'am?
Yes, sir. What you are asking?
No, where do you teach?
You are asking something.
Yeah, I am asking you, where are you teaching? Where do you teach?
Hello, sir.
Can you hear me?
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yes, sir.
Where are you teaching?
I teach management, sir.
You teach management. Very good. See, the question is very simple. When you teach management, okay, when you teach management in a college,
I just connect you. Just a minute. I just connect you.
okay.
Just a minute. I just connect you.
Someone else can, come forward.
Sir.
Sachin. Okay,
Hello,
Diwali.
sir.
Yes, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when you teach in a college, which is in an
Yes,
urban
sir.
center, where are you from?
At Tulani Maritime Institute.
Okay. So when you teach in an urban centric college, just imagine if you are teaching in an urban centric college, the teaching techniques which you use in that particular college, is it suitable for a rural college?
No, sir, because the urban centric college is basically based on the urban crowd, and for that reason they have a sophisticated choice, they have a different choices. For example, if you consider the e-commerce platform is much more useful for the urban, so for automatically
Yes.
their promotional factors etc are fully different. In case of the rural areas, we are using the word of mouth or marketing or etc. Automatically, I'm a management teacher, so automatically we can speak much more about
Okay.
this matter. So
Okay.
it's
Thank
obviously
you.
the different models.
So that's the most
Thank you, sir.
important thing. That's a very important contribution. See, the
Thank
point
you.
what I wanted to make is that the students in front of us have changed a lot. We call them Gen Z learners, those who have born after 2000, 1997 to 2012. In another 5 years, we will be having Gen Alpha students. Our higher education sector is going to be changed drastically in another 10 to 20 years. The existing degree programs, 3 year structure, 3 year, 4 year degrees won't be remain anymore. And the very structure of the higher education itself will be changing. The national education policy and some other schemes actually, are futuristic oriented, where they wanted the higher education system of India would be turned up to the demands of the larger employment market, larger needs of the society, and also to the larger global changes. So in that sense, we know that the students who are in front of us are digital natives. We as teachers, we didn't born with internet, but these guys who are in our classroom, actually they're born with internet. The next generation is born with AI, artificial intelligence. So their expectation from the higher education is totally different. They don't want our old age-old chalk and board method. They will be like more focusing on highly visual, interactive, and gamified contents. Their world is like actually revolving around their mobiles. So in such a situation, in such a scenario, you know, uh, their expectation from higher education is extremely different from that of those who were in the campuses before 10 years. They will be preferring more hybrid learning. They will be preferring more on online learning. They are giving more importance for portfolios than degrees. You know what is portfolio? Portfolio is skills rather than degrees. They will be like focusing on more micro credits. Like, they will be taking credits from different sources and making it as a degree. Already it is possible in our country. Like, the students can take credits from anywhere and it can be added to their credit bank using academic bank of credit. I am not saying something which is not yet implemented. Already the higher education system of our country is moving in that direction. So in that sense, the students actually are focusing on micro credits. The students' expectation from the higher education is very different. They wanted more skill rather than on the knowledge, because they need not to come to our college just to get information, because they can get good information from ChatGPT, good information from Google or some other spaces, much better classes than us. YouTube has all sort of good classes in their uh, classes um, in YouTube's. So in such a scenario, in such a context, why do the students comes to college? We have to seriously think of that. Because students are coming to college because they wanted skills. They wanted knowledge, but along with that, they wanted skills which is related to that particular knowledge base. If you teach them computational physics, then you are supposed to teach them Python. If you teach them economics, then you should make them able to work with data, because for an economic student, job will be coming from the data fields. If you're teaching them entrepreneurship, then the student will be able to develop a small business model by the end of that particular program. So commerce, for that matter, management, as our madam Diba madam's discipline is concerned. So skill is very important. In the conventional classroom which we had now, we were focusing on teaching board or like maximum PowerPoints. It is actually based on knowledge part. Content part, that is perfect. But if the students needs to have skills, if the student needs to have aptitude, then the important thing is that our existing pedagogy, existing teaching, learning, and evaluation assessment methods have to be changed completely. That is innovative pedagogy. Our classrooms will be changing in the future. Like in our houses, we have already moved to modular kitchen. Like that, our classrooms will be like a modular classrooms. Because in the classrooms, the permanent bench and desk won't help us. We need to conduct games in the classrooms. We need to conduct group discussions in the classrooms. We need to conduct flipped classroom. We need to conduct project-based model discussions in the classrooms. We have to conduct many, many things in the classrooms. So even the infrastructure of this classroom also have to be changed, not just our curriculum. I mean, just wanted to make use. So it is very clear that change in the employment sector is the one thing which actually drive the change in the curriculum. AI will be replacing many jobs, but it will also create many jobs. We need not to worry about AI. We need to update ourselves. If we don't update ourselves to the requirements, I mean, to the latest developments, then we will be thrown out of the sector. So the point is, you can see my skill PowerPoints, right? Someone please tell me. Can you see my slides?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, now it's core skills, right? What is the present slide? Can you tell me the title of the slide?
Core skills.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so the important part is that we need to develop certain core skills for our learners. That is one of the prime objective of our pedagogy. Critical thinking, problem solving. The example I told you in the beginning, what the HR manager told me. They don't want the people who will be like, clearly giving definitions for fund flow or cash flow. They wanted people who can solve the problems using the information and knowledge which they have gathered. For that, we have to develop critical thinking. That is most important. Digital and data literacy. The students need to have that, especially if you are teaching in social sciences. The people who are being social science graduates, huge opportunity will be coming in up in the future days using, if they could use data properly, if they knows softwares associated with data. Communication and collaboration, that is most important. You may know that earlier the companies were conducting interview to select people to their company. Now they are conducting group discussion. Group discussion is an innovative pedagogy because there are many things which are communicating in a group discussion. In a group discussion, people will speak, people will listen to others, people will critically evaluate others, people will respond to others, they will develop new ideas through those discussions. Why? Because in the modern times, more jobs will be evolved as a teamwork. The spirit of the larger jobs. Just take the case of IQS, Indian Quality Assurance Cells in our college. It's a teamwork, right? Same like that. The new jobs will be having a kind of teamwork. So the skills which are required for teamwork, that's why I told you we have to conduct group discussions in classrooms as a method. Then, communication and collaboration. Next is adaptability and lifelong learning. You know why UGC asked the colleges to make online courses mandatory? You know why? It is because of the fact that online courses will develop certain set of skills that will help the learner to adapt and lifelong learning. See, a physics student who completed a course in electronics joined an electronic company. In another 5 or 10 years, their products will be changed completely. If this particular graduate won't be able to change according to the demand of the market, demand of the consumers, this fellow will lose the job. For that, he or she has to continuously study along with their job. Lifelong learning is a very important thing. Take the case of teachers. We are simply using PowerPoints, our age-old chalk and board method. Now that is not possible. Now, we have to update ourselves with AI. We have to bring in technology to our classrooms. Otherwise, we will be outdated. The school syllabus have coding now. So we will be in next 4 or 5 years, we will be having students in our classrooms who knows to code. They know machine learning. They will be knowing digital learning. They will know everything. But teachers, as teachers, we simply having this laptop, PowerPoint, board, chalk, we cannot survive, right? So even as teachers, we have to learn lifelong. We have to update ourselves. These types of courses will give you some idea. Along with that, there are many courses provided by MOOC and many other agencies on how to update our teaching learning methods, how to use AI in classroom. There is a very good course by MOOC, AI for educators. I think all of you should do it. That will help you to bring in technology, bring in AI technology to our classrooms. Take it as a word from me. If we are using technology in the classrooms for conducting classroom teaching or even conducting examination, more number of students will join. If you use Kahoot is a software which helps to conduct assessment based on games. I don't know how many of you are familiar with that particular software, but I'm sure that your students will be familiar with that software. So if you use Kahoot as a software for conducting, just leave the case of Kahoot. I can give you a much more simpler examination. We all know that all of our students are using mobiles. It's a part of our life now. Instead of conducting a quiz on notebook and pen, if you create a quiz in the WhatsApp group of your class, and if you ask them to conduct if you give the questions through that and ask them to respond in WhatsApp, all of them will be actively participating. Right? Because students, these Gen Z students, Alpha students, they are more into these sort of innovative practices. They're born with mobile. They grow with internet. Now they are growing with AI. So if you use innovative pedagogy which integrates technology, one major advantage is that the students will be actively participating even in the exams. If you ask your student, instead of writing a assignment on paper, ask them to prepare a video. Ask them to prepare a status video. Ask them to prepare some sort of audio, video records or something. They will definitely do it because they are very acquainted with such technologies. It may be difficult for us to develop 10 PPTs or 20 PPTs, but it won't be difficult for them. They may take their support from the AI even then, because in the future when they are going for a job, they will be anyway using AI. But make sure that they won't become the slaves of AI. If they become slaves of AI, what will happen? In the future, they cannot do anything creatively. Creativity is very important. So that's why I told you, when you conduct questions, when you give questions in the classroom, if it is a management course, if it is a commerce course, instead of asking like what is finance management, and accounting, see what is entrepreneurship, what is MSME loan, ask them a question like how would you get a MSME loan for a particular company? What are the procedures involved in it? Or just given that you are starting a company, like a problem solving. So this is how we bring in innovation to our classroom. Friends, without bringing innovations, without integrating technology to our classrooms, take it as a word from me, we are not going to survive in this field. Please don't be under an impression that Only the people who are working in IT field, only the people who are working in the engineering sector, only the people who are working in the medical sector will be losing job because of AI. Even teachers will also lose jobs because the students need not to come to our campuses just for the information. Earlier, when we were studying, maybe like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years back, teachers were the only source of knowledge. Google was there. Even then, Google was not that popular. Teachers were the main source of the information. We studied everything, most of things from our teachers. But that's not the case with our students. So for that, we have to make our teaching learning process more interesting. So this is, can someone in this context, can someone tell me what is the role of a teacher? What is the role of a teacher? Can someone tell me? Dr. Mukund Kumar, are you there? Dr. Bakula? Shraddha ma'am, are you there? Anyone, can anyone come forward and discuss what is the role of teacher? Then, hello, am I audible? Hello? Am I audible?
Hello?
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay,
Yes,
fine,
yes,
fine.
yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
okay. So I thought of like, I was quite perplexed because, I was asking question, nobody was responding, but okay, fine, no issues. So we had a discussion with outcomes. So I'm not going to the details of the outcomes and all. But now, we will discuss on how can we bring in changes, innovative practices to our classrooms. Okay. So we know that in existing segment, it is completely teacher-centric. We all know that. But in FIUGP, 4-year undergraduation program, it is learner-centric because we are based on outcome. Outcome means it is based for the learner. That's why it is learner-centric. Earlier, we were like, simply memorizing things. But now the conceptual understanding and application has become more important. Disciplinary silos, now it is interdisciplinarity. Like in FIUGP, earlier for physics, you have to study chemistry and maths, must. Now a physics students can study commerce or political science along with that, if they are interested. That is interdisciplinarity. Earlier, it was written exams. Now it has become continuous assessment. It was purely theoretical earlier. Now it is experiential. We have been implementing OBE for quite some time, but now we are implementing it in the real sense. So I'm showing you some examples from different disciplines. How can we bring in innovations in pedagogy? First, commerce. So in commerce, you have a course on auditing and corporate governance. I don't know. I mean, in Kerala, in some universities, I have seen this course. I'm sure that this course is in else part of the country as well. So in this particular course, what are we teaching? We are focusing on auditing process, corporate ethics, governance failures, compliance, professional judgment. These are the things which we are dealing with this course. Earlier, the teachers were simply explaining what is auditing process, what is corporate ethics, what are the governance failures, what are the professional judgments like that. But in new today, how can you make it more interesting? You can, bring in campus audit simulation. That's one teaching method which you can use in any discipline like commerce, economics, or anywhere. Because simulation is very important. I hope you know what is simulation. Simulation is modeling. You are mimicking the original thing in the classroom. That is classroom or in the related activities. That is simulation. So, as part of this particular course, why don't the students conduct a real audit of college canteen, cooperative store, or library stock register, something of that sort? Because, tomorrow when they get a job as an auditor, then they will be doing these sort of exercises. So, if you are making them practice real life auditing in the classroom or as part of the classroom teaching, then, it will help them to develop skills like verification, documentation, judgment, and also aptitudes like ethics and responsibility. Whenever they go for an interview, they can proudly say, sir, I have first-hand experience on conducting an audit. We did audit of cooperative store of our college. Then the interview may ask you, what are the experiences which you have had? Then he or she could easily say, like, how did they do verification? How did they do the documentation process? And what sort of judgment they have arrived? So this is how, we are bringing in the practice model. Another thing, is like, governance failures. Like, we have gone through many things. Byju's app, many of you must be familiar with that. Or Satyam fraud case, S-Bank case. So instead of simply saying what are the different failures, why are the failures, what are the theories associated with it, rather than you should have a discussion in the classroom. You should have a debate. You should conduct group discussion. You should tell the students to conduct a project or like a case study. These are different methods, right? What went wrong with Byju's? Despite having auditors in classroom, you will be teaching that there are auditors. They will give you different proper reviews on the performance of your company. Are you going in the direct direction? Is there anything uh, coming bad in the future? I'm sure that Satyam Bank, S Bank, Byju's app, everyone have auditors, but they failed. So in the classroom, you are teaching the characteristics of a auditor, how are the auditor works. But ask them, despite having good number of auditors, why what happened with the S Bank? Why did a company fail? Why did a company end up in lose? Despite having good number of auditors, then that will pop up the students to in a critical thinking manner. That's how the skills of critical analysis come. That's where the student gets jobs like forensic audit, complaints analyst, and all those things. So the point what I'm trying to make is that whatever we are teaching, whatever we are trying to transact, use innovative teaching methods which makes the students interest, which ensure the participation of the students, and eventually which will help the students to get a job and later they could develop and grow up further. It's a connection. This case of economics. In economics, you will be teaching a course on quantitative method. I mean, that paper is there everywhere, where you will be focusing on regression, correlation, index numbers, time series, probability. You're teaching them many, many things, many, many concepts. This, I told you before, the students who are doing social science, they will be getting jobs in data market. They will be there are lots of jobs coming in the data market. But in order to get job, a mere understanding on quantitative methods is not enough. They may know the definition of regression. They know what is the concept of correlation. They may know the process of probability. But If they don't know the data to handle the data, if they don't know how to analyze the data, that to be using softwares like Excel or then only it will be beneficial for them. Otherwise, it will be a mere memory test which is not going to help them at any point of their life. Data handling and statistical reasoning, that's very important. These are the two important skills that any social science student, or for that matter, which many other students have to acquire these days. That will help them to find job. Data analyst, research assistant, even in banking sector. But they should know how to use Excel. A mere theoretical understanding of Excel, a mere theoretical understanding of R won't help them to find a job. You have to make them apply. Others is like, predicts, this was for a Kerala context, predicts Kerala's economy. You teach them probability, then give them data and ask them, you're from Maharashtra, Maharashtra agriculture sector, like, sugarcane sector is facing lots of crisis. This is the data which is associated with the sugarcane industry in the last 5 years. Can you predict the future of the sugarcane industry in the Maharashtra for the next 10 years? What are the issues that they are facing? How can they overcome? You can find many articles in the newspapers. That's fine. But if it is an analysis based on data, that is superb. That is going to be very important. So the skills like forecasting, modeling, that's very important. So in order to ensure those skills, you have to bring in such techniques to the classroom. A economics teacher, he goes to class, he will say that this is regression, this is cost analysis, this is how you can predict. There is no point in making such a classroom because, the student will get all those data from internet, from AI, much better teachers than us, beautiful teachers with rich source of knowledge, with lots of uh, suggestions, articles, materials. They will provide everything. What is the role as an economic teacher? What is my role? My role is that the students will be able to apply the knowledge what they have gained. That's why flipped classroom is an important method these days. You know what is flipped classroom? It is nothing, but you just give them notes or videos or something prior, let them read it or let them have just an idea about it. You discuss it in the classroom. If it is if you're in your classroom, if you're dealing with a case of unemployability, if you're dealing with the inflation, how monsoon is affecting on food price, what is the remittance inflow, then you are discussing in the classroom, you will be conducting analysis of real data that will help the students to find jobs in bankings, analytics, planning boards, and other areas. Business analytics is a very big industry. Now AI is there. Even AI is there. Only humans can make ethical judgments. Still, AI is not in a position to make ethical judgments. For making ethical judgments, human intervention is very much required. So that's what I'm saying. Even though there are jobs, really, that will be loose because of AI, there will be many other jobs which will come up in the future. So that's how we are making innovations in the teaching. Psychology, like if you're teaching the abnormal psychology, your focus is like disorders, causes, diagnosis, therapy. See, a psychology student, once they become a counselor, has to do therapy, right? You go to a counselor, he said that, I know only to diagnose and therapy. Theoretically, I cannot apply my knowledge in therapy. Is there any point in doing that psychology course? No. For that, the students have to have correct understanding on different teaching methods, clinical cases. They can based, uh, as counselors, they have to develop empathy. Ethical judgment is very important. You may talk with ChatGPT that, yeah, I am facing lots of problem. My girlfriend has left me. I have lose the exam. I don't have money. I don't have bike. Then ChatGPT will be like, telling something to you. But only a human being, a trained counselor can give you an ethical judgment which will help you to overcome that issue, which will help you to overcome the depression. If they wanted to do jobs as counselors, as rehabilitators in clinical things, they need to have practice. So field visit is a very important part of the teach in pedagogy. If you are if you are teaching psychology, then you have to take students to the similar institutions where counselings and other kind of diagnoses is have taking place. You should make your students familiar with different types of cases: depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, personality disorders. There are multiple issues, psychological issues that we are facing these days. Somebody was telling me other day, we have become an abnormal community. Everyone is having some sort of psychological problem in a way or the other. Sometimes we may realize it. In the most case, we don't realize it, so we are happily living. But it is creating issues in one way or the other in our life, which we think it is happening because of something else. Actually, the original reason might be something related to the hormonal change, depression, anxiety, or personality disorders. So we need good counselors. Then if you are teaching psychology, they should have clinical cases. There should be physical field visit. If you are teaching chemistry, take your students to industry, pharmaceutical industry. Let the students learn what's happening over there. Then only the students will be able to connect that knowledge which they have gained in the classroom with the practical outfit. If you are teaching management, take the students to good startups. Then only they know how these startups have mobilized funds. How are they surviving? What is their future plan? How are they going to find more funds for their expansion? Because all these things will be teaching in the classroom. But the observations, applied understandings, these are the important skills a student has to gain. For that, whatever you teach, if you're teaching political science, I teach political science, then I should take students to assembly at least once. If that is not possible, we may not be possible to take all our students to assembly. We have YouTube in our classrooms, right? Just show them what is happening in state assembly, what is happening in Rajya Sabha, what is happening in Lok Sabha. If possible, take your students to Panchayat, Gram Panchayat, which is near to you. Make them talk with Sarpanch, president of that Panchayat, or members, or make them watch the process Panchayat board meeting, Gram Sabhas. Make them participate in that such activities. Let them observe, let them understand. That's how, when they do these sort of practical field visit, then only, they will be able to connect what they have learned in the classroom with the real experience. They might have studied that, the parliament procedures are like this, but the original parliament procedure may be very different. Then only the students will start to think of that. Why is it so? Then there will be discussion. That's how, the students develop skills. The students develop aptitudes. That's how the students will be in a position to get jobs in the future. So physics, just take the case of physics. Computational physics. I can give you an example from the computational physics. You teach physics where, computational physics where it is focusing on Python programming, numerical method, simulation of physical system. There are many things connected with it. If you simply teach them theory, that doesn't make any difference. That is not going to make any kind of change or impact in that life of that student. Instead, you should use simulation based learning, where you will be using modelings in the classrooms. problem-based micro projects. The students will be able to connect real-world physical problems. When you give questions, use real-world problems so that the students will be able to connect it with more clearly rather than some other case of which they are not much interested. Problem-based micro projects. That's a very important teaching method. Innovative teaching method which you have to learn. Flipped classroom, I told you. Students want, see, sometimes you may be telling that, they won't even study for exams. How are they going to read or watch something if you give prior? No, they may not do it. Then do one thing. Before starting the class, just play a video for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. If you are a political science teacher and if you are teaching parliamentary procedures, why don't you show Parliament a video from the Parliament for 5 or 10 minutes? And after that, you conduct a theoretical class based on that particular video and make the students involved in that particular discussion. That's how the students learn the parliamentary procedures. If you are teaching political science and if that is a student of political science, he or she must know how the parliament works. So in that sense, flipped classroom is very, very important concepts which we have to bring into the classroom. Hackathons. It's very important, coding, hackathons, machine learning. Even it is having importance in the arts and science field, not just in the sciences, technology. So we have to bring in because the students will be finding jobs in very different sectors like technological startups, edutechs, research labs. Their aspirations will be very different. They have much more better and higher opportunities than us. In a way or the other, they are a very blessed and grace generation because they are having jobs where if you are creative enough, if you are innovative enough, you will definitely find jobs. But most of the time, what's happening is that whenever they come join a college, whenever they join for some degree programs, all their motivations, aspirations, everything is getting rotted mostly because of our class teaching. So that shouldn't happen anymore. Education policies, national level and state level, are focusing on that point. We need to develop a very, very active generation who are very confident enough to find jobs, who are very confident enough to survive and sustain in that field. So that's most important. So before moving to the assessment part, can someone please participate in the discussion for a while and tell me how are you going to make changes in your classroom? Because as of now, it is very clear that the existing teaching learning method, which is largely based in our classroom, is no more relevant, which is no more important for most of our students. I hope that all of you will agree with me that in that point. Nobody is going to contest on that point. If that is the case, then please can someone tell me, like earlier our Banerjee madam was, ma'am, are you still there? Hello? Anyone over there? Mayuri Zore, are you there? Am I audible, right? Hello? Am I audible? Yes, yes. Dr. Nabeen, are please come. Dr. Nabeen, you are there. Now you have texted, yes, sir. Okay, thank you. Sorry for the trouble. See, what do you teach, sir?
Sir, education.
Education, great. So you are the one who will be able to enlighten all of us. Sir, what sort of problem you have found with our present higher education teaching learning? You can
Sir,
speak in any language,
yes, sir.
Hindi, English,
Sir,
whatever.
right now, before implementation of NEP 2020, actually, I think the critical thinking process is very low, especially in the higher education system. I think this is
Yes.
what I have found, sir.
Okay, cool. That's an important thing. So now, the teachers have to come up with new methods, right? In order
Yes.
to see, do you find any future in this mere classroom teaching?
Sir, if we cope up with the recent generation like AI system, and if we cope up with this, and if we take this with us like recent AI generations, then I think it can go in future also.
Okay. Praveen Karat, are you there? Sir, please come forward. Praveen, sir. I don't want a very monologue lecture. It's very boring, right? Even you will be boring to simply hearing one single voice for 1.5 hours, that itself, make you sick. So that's why I wanted some other sounds in between. Praveen Karat, sir, you are there. You said yes at 5:2. Praveen, sir, please come forward. No? Okay, no issues. So far I was discussing on how innovations in teaching learning process can be brought into our classrooms. Now I will be focusing on assessment and evaluation. That's very important. Can someone tell me the difference between assessment and innovation? Is whether assessment and innovation same? Same? Dr. Nabeen, you are from education. You must be knowing that.
Uh, Sir, I think assessment is I think it is a process of like collecting information about the students, like focusing on the improvement of the students. And if we have to talk about the evaluation, then I think it is a process of making our judgment of our decision based on some assessment, sir, or assessment.
Okay.
Yeah, sir.
Thank you. That's very important. See, can you see my slides, right?
Yes, sir.
You can see? Okay, fine. This is slides on assessment bar evaluation, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, cool. See, there is a small, as Nabin sir said, there is a small difference between assessment and evaluation. Assessment is the process which is happening in between the academic sessions, like which will help the students to, that will help the students to improve. That is continuous assessment, precisely. Evaluation is one thing which is happening at the end of the semester, like our end semester examination, where you will be giving grades, where you will be giving marks and all. In innovative pedagogy, assessment is having more important than evaluation, because assessment is the one thing which help the learner to improve themselves. Assessment is one thing which will help to ensure that the has attained the outcome. So assessment, why are we just need to think of one thing. Why are we giving assignments? Why do we give seminar? Why do we conduct group discussion? Why do we conduct examinations? What is the whole point of doing all these things? Because we are testing certain set of skills, certain set of knowledge, certain types of aptitude developed by the learner through that course. See, we have different types of things. If you are testing the knowledge, then basically your skill, you need to know that whether the student have conceptual clarity or comprehension in that particular area. Then you can conduct quizzes, concept map, short reflection, etc. So when you conduct quiz, you can do it online. There are many softwares which help you to conduct quizzes. Then next is application based. Application based is very important because that is the one which is dealing with the critical thinking and problem solving, which is very essential for students of our time. So if you conduct this exam, if you conduct a quiz, you may not be able to ensure that the learner has acquired the skills like critical thinking or problem solving. So if you want to ensure that your learner has acquired critical thinking skill or problem solving skill, then you have to conduct case studies, mini projects, role plays, data analysis, etc. That's very important. Case studies, mini projects, role plays, rather than the examinations. If you're simply conducting a examination, that won't help you to ensure that the learner will be able to critically think or solve the problem. Performance based, if you're teaching drama, if you're teaching something of business models, then you have to conduct if they you want, like even if you are like doing a um, course on language, communication is very important, creativity is very important, right? Then you will ask them to conduct presentations, exhibitions, performance arts and all. That's very important. Performance based is very important. Collaborative, that is most important part of the story. As I told you before, in the modern times, in the future, the nature of nature of the employment, nature of the job will be teamwork. Only those who can be in a team, only those who can show some sort of leadership can survive and sustain in the employment sector. For that, we have to conduct group projects, peer evaluation. That's very interesting, right? We are not the only one who to evaluate the students. We will ask the students. See, just a case, I will give you an example. If you have asked the students to prepare PowerPoints or video presentation, even if you're giving 10 marks for that, why don't you make it as 5-5? 5 from you, 5 from the other students. Let the students know to evaluate their peers. Let the students know to assess their peers. That's very important because that's how the students will learn to assess, evaluate creatively and critically the others in their team. So collaborate in the case of collaboration, it is very important. Another one is reflective. Learning journals, portfolios. That's very important. So there are, see, the point is that we need to integrate maximum possible skills to our curriculum. It may not be possible to include everything in single course or in a single semester. So as teachers, we need to have a joint sitting of our department. I would suggest this. We need to have a joint sitting of our departments where we will be fixing assessment models for each semester so that by the end of the program, the students will be in a position to make sure that all these skills have been attained by our students. We will be having data for that. Communication. If you want to improve the communication, then you have to conduct oral viva, peer assess presentations, etc. If you want to ensure the skills related with teamwork, then you can conduct collaborative project and group discussion. If you want to ensure problem solving skill, then you have to conduct case analysis or community based projects. If you want to ensure digital literacy, then you have to give them e-portfolio submission or online research tasks. If you want to ensure ethical reasoning, then you have to give reflection essays. If you want to ensure emotional intelligence, then you have to give them peer self-assessment, rubrics on empathy and cooperation. Friends, in the previous class, you must be having some idea about outcome-based education, OBE. In OBE, you know that there is program outcome, program specific outcome, and course outcome. Program outcome is very important. Program outcome is important because that, that will help you to get in touch. So that will ensure you the skills which are essentially required in their life. Communication skill, teamwork skill, problem solving skill, digital literacy, ethical reasoning, very crucial in the time of AI. Emotional intelligence, that's extremely crucial. So how can we ensure these skills are acquired by them? If you are only conducting examination in your classroom, if you are only conducting assignment, if you are only giving them seminar, friends, please understand that our students who are completing our 3-year or 4-year degree won't be having any kind of skills which is required for them in their future. So, like changes in teaching learning methods, we have to conduct assessments, multiple models of assessments for photo as per the outcome. That is crucial. That is very, very important in our system. Viva, peer assessment. See, if you are giving a Viva, then you should tell that students, why are we conducting Viva? Through Viva, what sort of skill they are going to acquire? Peer assessment, collaborative project, group discussion. See, group discussion is very important because it will help them to improve communication skills. It will help them to think critically under pressure, ability to engage with diverse perspectives, persuasive abilities. Everything is very important in the modern times. So group discussion in that sense is very important. Case analysis, community projects, e-portfolio, online research tasks. So in that sense, it is very important that not just in the teaching learning method, in the assessment also, we have to bring in different things. If we are giving same repeated exams, same repeated assignments, same repeated seminars, students will get bored. Even we got bored, right? If we are doing same repeated things, which doesn't have any kind of use for our future life, what is the whole purpose of conducting such exams? It's important, it's very important that we have to bring in multiple innovations into the classrooms. So the point is we need to make our assessment attractive and engagement. There are multiple ways. There are choice-based assessments. See, you in a classroom, there will be 50 students. You need not to conduct same exams or same assessment for everyone. What is the idea? See, if you're teaching entrepreneurship, then the outcome is develop a small business model, right? For that, we are teaching entrepreneurship. Then the students can submit a written business plan, pitch via presentation or recorded video, create a digital prototype. So there are multiple ways of doing things, right? Even if you are testing a single assessment, if you are testing a single knowledge base, if you are assessing a single skill, there are multiple ways of doing it. There are multiple ways of doing it, and that is very important. Gamification, that's very important, right? Because these days kids like games a lot. They often do games, PUBG, there are many, even we play games, right, in mobile. Whenever we travel, we can see that, people are doing games in a very serious manner. Sometimes, they even forget the place where they to get down, because they're into it to that level. So in that sense, if you could bring in games to the classrooms as a method of assessment like Kahoot, I don't know how many of you are using such things. But if you are using Kahoot, if you are using Socrates, these are free applications. Anyone can use in classrooms. You need not to pay for that. The basic version is enough to conduct examinations in our thing. I'm sure all the students will actively participate in the classroom assessment. You may have to ask them 10 times to submit assignment, written assignment. But if you are conducting a game model assessment, everyone will come on the first page. Because that is what make them interest. They are into it, right? Then another is real world connections. Real world connection means we need to connect our contents to the real life. Students will be able to work with the community. Give them a chance to work with the community. Develop app prototype for waste segregation in local panchayats. Because we need to have a connection between the higher education institutions and society. NEP is stressing on that factor very much. The higher education institutions have a role to play in our society. How is it possible? It is possible through our academic interventions. There are many self-help groups in your locality. Your panchayat will be facing many problems. You will be having water quality issues near to your college. In a village, the water quality may be very poor. The people are getting disease every day or the other because of this water problem. Then it is the responsibility of a chemistry department to conduct a proper water analysis, or a biotech department if it is there, and come up with a solution for that. You may not be able to solve the issue, but you can hint them, you can give the direction how the panchayat could act, how the MLA could act, because they may not be having academic knowledge on these things, but higher education institutions have. So our assessment methods, our teaching methods, our learning methods, that has to be connected with the real world. That will make the studies more interesting. That will help the students to involve in the studies in a more interesting manner. You may be complaining that these days the students are not interested to study. They don't want to read books. They are not writing notes. See, how many of us are writing? We are all typing, right? Then why should we insist our students to write? In future, I don't know whether the people will be able to write. They will only know to type. Because every system, the system will be completely automated. Even the villages of India are getting automated. In such a situation, what is the whole point of making them write? So, friends, this is the last thing which I wanted to make discussion. Rubrics. Rubrics is the criteria and standard. The point is very simple. If you're giving a seminar, if you're giving an assignment, whatever you're giving, you should tell them how are you going to evaluate. What are you looking at? Structure, content, coherence, language clarity. Because you are not conducting a seminar in your classroom just to give them mark. Tomorrow, when they go for a job, when they become the part of society, they may have to do presentations in a most coherent manner, in a very well structured manner. From where will they learn this? They have to learn it from the institutions. They have to learn it from the colleges. So our teaching pedagogy, our teaching methods, learning methods, assessment methods will enable them to understand these sort of rubrics. If you are simply giving a topic, if you are simply giving the mark, it won't help them at all. This won't create any benefit out of it. Students will copy from somewhere, submit to you. You will just give them some marks, fine. That doesn't make any sense. So, this is my contact number. If you have any comments, if you have anything more to discuss on it, please do it. I'm very happy to have an interaction with you. So it's 5:25 already. We will have 5 minutes for discussion. Friends, we know that it is imperative that we have to bring in change in our pedagogy. The higher education policies are changing accordingly. It is the responsibility of our faculty community to bring in most innovative manner of teaching, learning, evaluation process to our classrooms. I express sincere gratitude for the organizers for inviting me to this session, especially our Director Atik Rahman Sir, Professor Atik Rahman Sir. I also thank Prashant Govender Sir for having a beautiful introduction. I also thank those participants who have participated in the discussion, at least in a limited manner, which made the sessions a little more interactive. I hope all of you will be actively participating in the discussions in the coming time. So thank you so much. And if there are any questions, I can take a couple of questions. We have still 5 minutes left. Otherwise, we can wind it up. Thank you so much.
Participants, any question? Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Really, you have delivered the informative session. You have cleared all the doubts about the flipped classroom, phonetics, nicely explained about the difference between the syllabus and the curriculum, really, which is it is confusion for many of the members. I'm very much thankful on behalf of the organizing committee. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So please keep in touch if you want. I mean, I've shared my contact number to everyone. So if you want to have any more communication, if you want these slides, and we will have continuous discussion. Thank you.